Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ekbareka. Thank you so much for all your support. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make circle cape dress. I'm going to use this fabric. This fabric is by 60 by 60. On this side, I have about nearly 7 yards this side. The length of the fabric by 60. So I'm not going to use all the fabric. I will just cut the ones that I want for the dress and keep the rest. So this is the length of the fabric. I'm going to fold it this way. I'll hold this side by 60. I'll fold it this way, like triangle. I'm going to take the measurement, but because of the length of this fabric, on the lower part of it, I'll join it so that I'll make up one side of the length. So, but I'll show you on piece of paper how I folded this. So that this is how I folded the fabric. The length of the fabric by 60, 5 yards 6 yards on this side. So I folded it this way. So on the lower part, I will join something to this side to make up the length. But on this side, I'll get the full length. But this side, this shorter side, I'll join some fabric to it to make up the length. So I'm going to use basic bodice for it. This basic bodice is from my shoulder to my bust line. This is my bust measurement. My bust is 46. 46 divided by 4 is 11 and a half. Plus half inseam allowance is 12. What I have here is 12 inches. Quarter of my bust measurement plus half inseam allowance. So the neck width is this is the back neckline. Neck width of 3 inches and neck depth of 1 inch for the back one. The front one, neck width of 3 inches and neck depth of 3 inches for the front one. So I'll pin it on this fabric to cut out the back one first. After cutting the back one, I will trim off this. I'll trim this off and cut out the front one. So I'm going to pin it on the fabric. I've pinned it to the fabric. This line is starting line, the shoulder line. On the basic bodice, I came down by 1 inch, which is shoulder slant. So when I'll take the length of the dress, I'll take the length of the dress from this line. The length of the dress is 60 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance is 61 inches. So from this line, I'll take 61 inches, 61 inches. 61 inches, so I'll connect it on the lower part, but I will join the lower part, one side of the lower part, to make up the length. So now what I'll do now is to connect this way to this point. To this point. So from here, I'll create another armhole, 9-10 inches, 9 inches, 10 inches. Another armhole. From here, from this point, I'll create another armhole between 8 to 10 inches. So I marked them on the midpoint here. On the midpoint, I'll come in by 1.5, 2 inches, 2.5 inches. So but I'll use 1.5. I'll connect it. This is new armhole. On the midpoint here, I came in by 1.5 inches. I connected it with this to this point. I also turn it this way to connect it. So now what I'll do now is to mark the length of the fabric. From here I'll mark 61 inches. I've marked the length, so now I'm going to cut it out. After cutting it, I'll use it to cut the second one. Then I'll trim the front neckline. I'll use this basic bodice to trim this side, back neckline, So I've already cut the lower part and the side. Now I'll use it to cut another one. After that I'll trim the neckline. This is what I have, but before this side is complete, but this side is not. But I pin it because I want to turn it to the other side. I pin it. The best way to do this is to do it on the floor. So I'll turn it this way. I'll pin another fabric on it. I'll pin another fabric. I'll overlap it with 1/2 inch. So I'll pin it. After that I'll use this one to cut the lower part. This is the front part of the dress. One side of the lower part is shorter. I pin another fabric on it to make up the length. I overlap it with 1/2 inch, same allowance to join it. I used this one, the upper one. This upper one is complete, the length is complete. I use it to trim it. I will do the same on the back one. This is for the front one. I will do the same on the back one. I have 2 of these. This is for the front one and the other one is for the back one. I've also make up the length, cut another fabric to join to the lower part. So I trim off this. This is the back neckline. I trim it off and use it to trim the front neckline. So after that, on the fabric, I marked 5 inches from here to this point on the fabric, 5 inches. On the midpoint from here to 2.5, I came in by 1/2 inch. I connected it from this way. I connected it. So now I'm going to trim it off. From here to this point is 5 inches. On the midpoint I marked 1/2 inch. I connected it this way. So I'm going to trim this off. So this is the front neckline. I'll use bias to tidy up this part and also the armhole. I'll also join the lower part. I'll join the lower part. This is the back one. This is the back one. I will use bias to tidy up the armhole. This is the front one. I use bias to tidy up the neckline. Also the armhole, the 2 armhole. So the lower part, I join it. I put it this way, right side facing each other, and join. After that, I press it also at the front side. On the back one, I use bias to tidy up the 2 armhole and join the lower part of it and press. So what I'll do next is to join the 2 together. So I'm going to join the back and the front one together, right side facing each other. This is the front one, this is the back one, right side facing each other. The neckline, put it together. I'll put it together, 1/2 inch to this point. This is where the armhole starts. Then I will leave this open. From here again, 1/2 inch to the end. I will do the same on this side. I've joined the shoulder together and also these 2 sides. What I'll do next is to cut out the collar. I'll measure from here to this point. I've measured it already. Is 18 inches. So I'm going to cut out the collar. I want to cut out the collar. The neck measurement I'm working with is 18 inches. I'll divide 18 inches into 2 because I'm going to fold this fabric into 2. Okay, so 18 inches divided by 2 is 9. 9 inches plus half inch seam allowance, 9.5. I'll mark 9.5. 9.5. So on this side, the front side of it, I'll come up by half inch. Half inch. Sorry, this is guideline. My measurement from the lower part will start from this line. So this is half of my measurement because I'm working with 18 inches. This is 9 inches plus half inch seam allowance, 9.5. So the neck width I'm working with is 3 inches. I'll mark 3 inches here, or half of this measurement. Half of this measurement is 9.5 divided by 2 is 4.75. So I'll mark 4.75. 4.75. There are so many ways you can cut this collar. 4.75. So on this collar, I'm going to add my seam allowance together with the seam allowance. So from this half inch, I'll connect it to this point here. Half inch to this point. On this side, I'll mark, my collar will be 1.5 inches after sewing, but I'll add seam allowance to it. If you're using half inch to sew your own, you will add half inch, which is 1 inch. If you're using 1/4 inch, you will add 0.25, 0.25. So I'll use half inch. So I'll mark 1.5 plus half inch, which is 1 inch, is 2.5. I'll mark 2.5 from this line. I'll connect it to this line, 2.5 to this line. So from this line, you know, I came up by half inch. This half inch, from this half inch line, I'll come up by 2.5. From here, 2.5. I'll connect it to this line. I'll slant it from here. I'll curve it to this line. Or just slant it. So now I'll just curve it on this line. So this is the collar. I'm going to cut it out. So this is what we have. I want to go through it. The measurement I'm working with is 18 inches. 18 divided by 2, because fabric is folded into 2, is 9 inches, plus half inch seam allowance to sew it on this side is 9.5. So this is 9.5. So this line is guideline. starting line. The measurement is starting from this line. So from this guideline, I came up by 1/2 inch on this side, and I slanted it to this point. This is midpoint, half of this measurement. So on this side, I came up by 2.5, because my collar is going to be 1.5 inches after sewing, but I added 1 inch seam allowance, half on this side and also half on this side. So which is 1 plus 2, 1.5 is 2.5. So I came up by 2.5 here. From this line, I now connected it to this point. This 2.5, I connected it to this center line. From this half, I came up by 1/2 inches. From this 1/2 inch, I went up by 2.5 inches again. Then from this point, I slanted it again to the midpoint. And on this side, I gave it a little curve, but if you like, you can do without the curve. So now I'm going to cut it out. Now, I'll cut it from this 1/2 inch. Okay, this is the collar. I want one more of this. I will use this to cut the second one. Then I will iron interfacing on it. But I'm not going to use black for it. I'm going to use the main fabric, but I just use black to show you how to cut it. I use the black one to cut out these two. I iron interfacing on it. I also folded this edge by 1/2 inch. So this is for button. This is 1.5 by 3 inches. I folded it this way. So right side, I'll put this on one side of it. This is the collar. I'll finish. I also press it. So I've sewn the two together. I put the button loop inside. I use 1/2 inch seam allowance to join them together. After that, I notch and trim. I also press it. So one side of it, I press this in, 1/2 inch in this way. So this side, I'll pin this side to the wrong side of the fabric. So inside. I'll pin it from here, inside. The midpoint. I'll pin it round. So I'll use 1/2 inch seam allowance to join it to the neckline. I'll sew the collar, wrong side of the fabric, right side of the collar. I put it this way and sew it with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So what I'll do next is to turn it to the right side this way. This is right side of the fabric, outside. So this is the side that I folded 1/2 inch in. I will use it to cover this seam. So I'll put the seam inside. So I'll stitch on it. I'll stitch on it to this side. So this is the collar finished. So I'll fix button on this side. I used 4 years plus, 4 years 6 inches. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.